Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master for this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons show. I will have some announcements and a recap before we dive into tonight's action. But before any of that, Nick, would you go ahead and kick off a round of player introductions?
Sure. Hi, I'm Nick. I play Embers of White Ash, the Tabaxi Sun Soul Monk.
Hi, I'm Kay. I play Lady Elwyn Amalos, the Elvish Arctic Circle Druid. Yep, that's it.
Hello, I'm Melissa. I play Tepence Wiseacre, who is a pixie bard.
Hi, I'm Zach, and I play Rook, who is a changeling armor artificer.
So those announcements I talked about, we premiere our episodes on YouTube every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Throughout the show, we use a variety of custom items as well as a custom pixie lineage, so be aware of that as you're watching. Our character portraits, which you'll see on the info cards and pretty much all over the layout, were drawn by an artist named Krista Porter, who goes by @KristaPorter with 2 R's on the end on Twitter. If you need a refresher on anything that's going on in this campaign, we have a campaign wiki at World Anvil. You can check the video description for links and information to everything I just mentioned and more, including some links to Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate resources. You can also follow us on Twitter at AntiheroesAnon for information about what we're doing and when. Normally I'd say last but not least and do one more thing, but I'm going to insert one here in the list. This should be the season finale for this season of our second campaign in this world. But we will be back with these characters. We are just going to switch over to our Antiheroes in Exandria campaign, which is run by Kay, for a few weeks. So next time we're back and have a new episode, that's what we'll be doing, and not this campaign. But we will come back to these characters and this show. Other than that, we just hope you enjoy the show, share it with your friends, and come back to watch some more. I think that's all the announcements, so let's not waste any more time and just go ahead and roll the intro video. And welcome back. Previously on Antiheroes Anonymous, the Silver Seekers have managed to foil a plot by the Dragontooth Brotherhood in their attempt to steal a clutch of dragon eggs. Barely arriving at the caravan in time, they successfully fought off the Yuan-Ti Kashura, her griffin-riding crew, and the Brotherhood thugs backing them up. But their work isn't over yet. There's a conversation to be had with Kashura, and once they return to Port Horizon Shroud, it'll be time for them to pack their things, tie up loose ends, and then eventually begin their trek up to their newly acquired keep in the town of Amberhearth. So we'll pick up for this moment pretty much right after you guys knocked Kashura out. And then throughout the rest of the episode, we're just going to progressively move time faster and see what you guys do with the next couple weeks of time in the city as you prepare to move to Amberhearth. So for the moment, though, the group of you are on a road winding through the tundra. Embers of White Ash has just basically throat punched Kashura into unconsciousness. And the group of soldiers who came with you are rushing to back up the soldiers who were defending the caravan and help repel the Brotherhood thugs. And you can see that with the reinforcements you brought along, thoroughly devoted to that cause, the Brotherhood thugs are either falling or fleeing at this point, thoroughly repelled.
Yeah, five knows their job.
Yep. So what would you like to do?
I'm still a panther, aren't I?
Yes.
I think the first thing I want to do is search Kishura to see if she's carrying the dragon's breath.
Okay. Roll an investigation check.
I wanted to search for like mission orders or some sort of,
Okay.
something like that as well.
Are you better at investigation, Rick?
I have a 4 +4.
Yeah, I'll aid you then. Or do you want us to roll separately since we're looking for separate things?
You can do one aids the other. That's fine.
Okay,
Okay,
go for
I'm
it.
gonna give
easier.
myself guidance. It's a 18.
18's pretty good. Let me look what I wrote that she has on her. I know I wrote out that she has some stuff on her, but I can't remember where I put it. The first thing I'll say, though, is that she doesn't seem to have... Well, this is the way I'll put it. She has, so that metal sphere that contained the dragon's breath, that you've seen these before, she has one of those on her, but when you kind of open it and it kind of twists open, there's a bit of a sound, like a hissing sound as it opens. Inside there, you can see that there is kind of a padded space that used to hold a syringe, and that syringe is conspicuously missing
Okay.
from
so
within this metal carrying case.
I'll just hand that to Embers.
Okay.
Say 1 used dragon's breath.
The only other things that she really has on her is those metal knuckles that she wore, and a couple of darts, actually quite a few darts in her belt. And then she has about 3 vials of some kind of poison, and that's about it. But as you're doing this thorough investigation, you do notice something that you couldn't see before. She, at one point during the fight, threw off the like emerald green Brotherhood cloak that she was wearing. And so now you can sort of see her shoulders and things, because underneath she was basically wearing like a wrap around her top, and then it's pretty much just like shorts, for the pants. So it was easy to move, easy to fight in. And so now you can see her shoulders, which you couldn't before because it was covered by the robe. And there seems to be a kind of all black tattoo on her shoulder of the same strange dragon-like symbol you've seen before.
Do you want me to show the symbol?
Yeah, go ahead and put it up on the screen. The third eye in the center, the strange tentacle-like appendages coming down from the chin, and the runes in an unknown language along the right and left of the face. And so she has that on her shoulder.
Okay.
I'm going to loot the cloak, see if there's anything in the pockets or anything.
There's nothing really in the... I don't think the cloak would
The
even
cloak?
have pockets, really.
Okay.
But you can definitely pick up the emerald green Brotherhood cloak if you'd like.
I was gonna say I'll change back once the threat is over into myself. Are there enough Brotherhood bodies so that we could have like one cloak for each normal sized person of this party?
There certainly are. Let me see what colors you would get. I'm going to have to open Roll20 to see which ones went down.
Well,
Um,
It's like
Tuppence
2 whites and a
need
blue
one
and a red.
anyway.
yeah. So you could pick from those colors or just take them all.
I mean, we only need, Tuppence has the green one, so we could get maybe a red one and a white one.
Well, Elwin's going to want the blue, right?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so blue and red in addition to the green. And we could probably make one for Tuppence that resembles these.
Tiny
if we
little
have a tiny
Brotherhood
little
cloak.
one.
Because that would be so believable.
You never know.
No, you never know. I mean,
Um,
she could always hide in the pocket of one of ours too. But I
Yeah.
basically will. Oh, this is the question though. Are they bloodied?
Some of them probably to some extent. Yeah.
Then I will go over to Embers and kind of tap her on the arm
mhm.
and say, I'm kind of watching Tuppence go through the pockets of the green cloak that had been thrown off, and I'll probably go and like pick it up and help Tuppence look, and then I'll go over and tap Embers and I'll show her the cloak, and I'll say, I think these might come in handy if we need to, wear disguises. Do you mind? And I go point at like the group of bloodied bodies over on the other side. I'd do it myself, but I don't think I can.
Embers takes the cloak and like holds it up in front of her and looks at it for a minute and frowns and says, "You want us to wear these? The
Not right
craftsmanship
now.
is so basic and dull."
Not right now. But if we end up needing to fly under the radar, so to speak.
Well, maybe I can embellish them a bit, make them more acceptable.
Sure. Of course.
Yeah, and I'll I think
They'll need to be washed up anyway.
Yeah. I think you caught Embers as she was like carrying Kashura over to these trees in the northwest,
Mhm.
just to get them away from the group a little bit, and sets her down against just like slumped against the tree, and looks back at Elwin and Tuppence and says, "Your move." And goes to the cart to start looking through the bodies and trying to find clean cloaks.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can get those cloaks. They're not necessarily perfectly clean, but they are clean enough that, Embers could patch up places where there are stabbed holes in them. And none of them are, horribly bloodied to the point that you couldn't wash them.
What
So
Yeah.
what color cloaks were the Griffin Riders wearing? Because they would just be like bludgeoned, I guess, not necessarily bleeding, right?
that's true. A mix of the different colors. So
Are there
I
any
guess
like
if there's a particular color you wanted, you could grab one from the Griffin Riders.
okay?
I don't know. I feel like blue for me and green for Rook and red for Embers works. But take your pick.
Good for me.
So I have a question for you guys. Are we going to take the eggs with us, or are we going to leave them for Five and his gang to bring back?
Right. How are
Um,
the wardens that were supposed to be traveling with this caravan?
How are they?
Are they
that what you asked?
dead? Yeah.
Only one of them died, actually. It seems like your reinforcements, Five's troops, did a really good job keeping the wardens who were traveling with the caravan alive, and there was only one casualty.
That's great. So I imagine we'll want to escort them back. Make sure no other Brotherhood members come after it. Make sure it gets back to the city safely.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I would love to ride in the carriage back to Port Horizon Shroud.
I'm sure that can be arranged.
Yeah, but they're not our eggs to take, I don't think. So I think we just put them back in their container and lock them back up.
However, who knows if anyone else is really aware how many eggs are in the container?
No, we've done
You're
this.
right.
We're
Rook
not
takes the
doing this
dragon
again.
egg. I can't help
Like,
myself.
are
It's
you-
still
are
so
you
much better
asking
the
me to-
second time, though.
Are you asking me to take my revenge on you for what you did to me?
I'm proficient in
your
sleight
other
of hand.
campaign?
I'll do it.
She didn't manage to get them out of the carriage though, right?
She did.
She
Yeah.
did, yeah.
Yeah, they
She
rolled on
did.
the
She
ground.
started running with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
I wrote that 6 large eggs rolled out.
6. Oh, I didn't think it was that many.
Well, I
but-
guess yeah. Then we'd be helping
Yeah.
to pick those up, put them back in their
Yeah,
container.
there were only 5. I don't know what happened to the last one.
It didn't make it. No, we don't need dragon eggs.
Okay. So the dragon eggs are returned to the wardens. 5 comes over to where Kashura is by the tree, and whoever is there at the time, and says, "We should probably handcuff this one. I have a pair. Would you like
Yes,
me to use
please.
them?"
Please,
Uh,
please.
No.
No?
Yeah. 5 kind of looks confused back and forth between the two of you.
Well, we're gonna want to restrain her if we're gonna want to have any hope of talking to her, Embers. She's not gonna just sit there and listen quietly to us.
She knows that she's in our power without us having to restrain her.
I'll
Do
take
we
those
know
5,
her
and I'll hold
power?
my hand out to 5 for the handcuffs or manacles.
Yeah,
or whatever.
you'll recall that 5 kind of had perceived Elwyn as the leader of the group. So
Mhm.
5 places the handcuffs in your hand and says, "What your friend Embers says is likely true.
Yeah,
if
I
we-
know. I'm not gonna put them on her just yet, but I'm gonna have them here so she sees that we have them. Maybe it'll help her cooperate.
Very well. If anything goes wrong, just call. We are here to help."
Thank you, 5. Are the
Uh,
wardens all right?
Yes,
The ones that made it?
we only suffered a single casualty. Everyone else seems to be tired, but satisfied with our ability to fend off the attack.
Great. Well, let's take a little bit of a rest and then we better get on the road.
Okay. So yeah, you guys can take a little bit of a rest here.
And I
Kashura
think
is
that's just buying us time to talk to Kashura. unless
yeah,
she's still
Kashura
out.
is out for most of the rest, but she'll probably wake up towards the end of it. During the rest, you watch as the wardens kind of regroup. Some of them come over and thank you for coming to their aid, expressing their gratitude, but kind of sensing that you're just sort of waiting for the prisoner to wake up so that you can talk to her. They don't bug you for too much longer, and they basically go back to the wagon and start making sure that like nothing is broken and everything can be prepared to travel without too much trouble.
Okay, so did that count as a short rest for the purposes of
Yes,
Alright,
this can
so
count as a
this-
short rest, and Kashura starts to wake up towards the end of it as people are starting to get ready to pack up and get this wagon moving again.
I don't know if I explicitly said so, but I did take her weapons and things, so she didn't have
Yeah.
them.
So
I do
yeah,
have
you've got a
those.
pair of like these brass knuckles, and then how many vials of poison did I say? 3?
Three.
Three.
You said 3.
Yeah. And this
some
this
number of darts.
I
right.
am going to yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and use my natural recovery to get back a second level spell slot.
Okay. Zach, for recording these poison vials, write them in as Kashura's poison, because they are not just the standard vial of poison that you would find in the player's handbook.
Okay, I got it. Are the brass knuckles are they a standard item or?
I don't actually think there's a knuckles item in the handbook, but
Okay, I'll just look
yeah,
around.
I have an idea of how they work. So if someone decides to use them, I will
Sure.
explain that.
Can Tuppence take the darts? So
The darts will be a bit big for Tuppence because Tuppence
Okay.
kind of has custom darts.
Right.
However, if someone picks them up, these could probably be melted down into darts for Tuppence.
If
Rook breaks
Tuppence
them in half and hands it.
if Tuppence takes the darts, can she add them to her inventory as javelins?
Yes, yes, you can. You have 16 javelins. Probably can't carry that many, but whatever.
16. Okay.
So we could carry them for her and just give her 1 or 2 at a time.
That's funny right there. Do I even know how to use it?
I don't know if you're proficient with javelins.
Yeah.
I think bards might be.
I'm proficient with darts, apparently. All
Well, there's
right.
16 of those, so whoever's writing them down can take those.
I'm not taking them.
I wrote
Clarity.
them down, but I can give them to Tuppence or whatever.
Sounds like Tuppence is taking them. So, okay. Towards the end of this rest, Kashura's eyes begin to sort of groggily flutter open, and you can see as soon as consciousness comes back, the sort of serpent-like eyes that she has narrow in focus and begin looking around with an appraising eye that you can recognize as someone who is evaluating their captors and sort of considering all options of escape. But she doesn't say anything to you at first. So if you want to talk to her, you've got to make the first move.
I'm just kind of like standing guard. Basically, I'm not going to talk, but I'm just here to lend support to whoever it is.
I'll look at Tuppence and Embers. Kind of like, who wants to go first?
Yeah, Embers nods and then like says, "It better be not be me."
I'm sorry, I was putting my equipment in. What are we doing?
Kashura is
Talking
waking
to
up.
Kashura.
Oh, okay.
Embers wants to try and change her.
Okay,
Convince her
so
not to be bad.
Yeah.
let's see. I was trying to see if I could make her a little calmer. So maybe I will use this opportunity to cast Enthralling Performance
Oh, okay.
so that she's charmed.
As she's waking up, you just start playing your lute.
Yep, that's the one I'll use.
Let's see. I'm
Okay.
trying to pull it up now, but tell me how it works.
It says, once per short rest, you can choose 3 creatures that watched and listened to you perform for 1 minute. Each target makes a wisdom saving throw and is charmed if it fails for 1 hour or until it takes any damage or I attack it.
Okay. I will make that wisdom saving throw then.
DC 13.
There's
Let's see.
quite a bit more to it in the actual write-up than in this short description on your character sheet. While charmed in this way, the target idolizes you. It speaks glowingly of you to anyone who talks to it, and it hinders anyone who opposes you, although it avoids violence unless it's already inclined to fight on your behalf.
Okay. Well, I think this is a magical effect, so she does have advantage, but I will roll that and we'll see how she does. What is her wisdom bonus? So 13, which I think is what you said the DC was. So she just makes it.
Oh,
It was
man.
actually two pretty low rolls. So as you're playing this song and she comes to consciousness, she kind of looks over in your direction and says, "I'll never understand the fascination with music."
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me. I'll never understand why you're doing what you're doing.
You don't have to. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. Doesn't matter that you don't understand music.
I would like to understand why you do what you do.
She turns to Embers with this cold serpent-like stare and says, "Why? What difference does it make to you?"
Because if I it's like if I knew that, maybe I could tell you a different way of going about it.
You, on the topic of things I'll never understand, why am I even alive? Surely it would be easier to have just killed me.
That may be true. Are you a tea person? Do you like tea?
Yeah, it looks like that catches her off guard a little bit. No.
What about hot cocoa? Kind of wiggle my eyebrows at her.
It looks like she doesn't understand or know what that is.
I'm gonna just fetch some out of my bag, and I assume during the short rest I could have been like boiling water or whatever. So I like
absolutely.
have a collection of like warm beverages that I can make that I brought from home, and like this cute little travel tea set. But I just like produce like the hot water that I was heating up, and I pour some into a cup and mix the like cocoa in, and I hand it to her.
What kind
I
of
like
cup is
kneel
this?
down. It's like very like I want to say probably pretty cheap travel set that she bought somewhere in End.
So it's not like a fancy porcelain thing.
No,
or anything
no,
like
it's
that.
not fancy. It's just something like she wanted something that she could bring with her and didn't think about it until after she left home. But yeah, so she just produces it and she hands the cup to Kashura, like kind of kneeling down in the snow beside her. Just here, try it. I have a feeling you are just going to love it. Not many people can say no to a nice cup of hot cocoa.
She sniffs it, and when she does, you can see that her tongue is like she flicks her tongue a little bit as she sniffs the cocoa. And then she sets it to the side and says, "No, thank you.
Not
I
even
don't
a
know what
little
you've
sip?
put in there."
I will grab it and I will take a sip myself. And I will set it down next to her and say, tastes like home.
Can I make some sort of check? Because like this is a thing that like I know as a player, but I'm trying to figure out if Embers would know it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, what do you whatever check you think might be appropriate, like a history check or
history or nature?
Sure, either one.
I'm
not sure what you're trying to find out, but
like I'm gonna go with history here. That's a 10. And what I was trying to figure out if Embers knows is like, why does Kishura care if anything that we give her is poisoned?
So yes, one thing you would know, I guess even with a 10, yeah, likely she's probably not really susceptible to poison, being a UNT. But I think it's not really the check you rolled wouldn't really give you this information, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. It seems to you like she's been stubborn, uncooperative, and skeptical kind of on purpose, like as a default stance. So like even if she's not really worried about poison per se, on principle, she doesn't want to take something from you.
Okay, I just have a sip and I set it down next to her and I just don't touch it and I don't push it. And I say, I'm very curious about you, Kashura. Kashura, right?
Yes.
I've never met anyone like you before. And I don't know. I think you're pretty neat.
You don't know
But
anything
you're doing
about me.
That's true. I don't know anything about you, but I'd like to. What are you doing? How did you get involved in all this?
She looks around at the group of you, and she just says, "I don't understand. What are we doing here?"
Why don't you just answer the question? We're having a conversation. Don't you have any friends? Haven't you ever had a conversation with people before?
I've had plenty of conversations. Fine, fine. You want to know so badly why I'm doing this? Why go to all this trouble? It
Must be
seems you
pretty
know a
something
thing.
pretty. Must be something pretty big if you were willing to risk your life to do it.
She nods. It seems you know a thing or two about my people, at least, despite the fact that most of us have slithered into the shadows at this point, those that are left. There aren't many of us anymore. But we used to be a great empire. Powerful. Ruled half of a continent at one point. No longer, obviously. And we had another shot at glory some years back. A leader, a great hero from the past, arose. And she ventured forth into the light like no Yuan-Ti had in hundreds, if not thousands of years. But her ambitions were squashed, and what was left of us was scattered. I'm going to take it back. All of it. I'm going to do what Queen Ixlati couldn't do. I'm going to rebuild our empire.
Well, those are some pretty big britches you're trying to fill from the sound of it. What makes you think that you could do it all by your lonesome?
I'm not by my lonesome, though. That's the thing.
I muted myself. I'm going to look around at that and say, yeah, I think you are, dear.
She laughs, but you can see like there's no actual like emotion or like enjoyment or happiness behind it. It's just like her being amused by almost the ridiculousness of what you're saying. You think you have me. You think that I'm yours now. That you've won, that this is the end for my ambitions.
No, I don't think that. I think that you're here by yourself without your friends. You're not attacking us because you know that we're stronger than you are. But we're not trying to keep you here. We're not trying to control you or kill you or make you stop your ambitions. We're just trying to understand. And we're trying to show you there's another path. If what you want is for your people to be able to walk in the light, we can make that happen. But you don't have to kill people to do that. Isn't that right, Embers?
Embers like nods a bit and says, I understand that you're the desire to belong somewhere, to find a people, a place in the world, but their empire building is not the way, I don't think.
Tuppence looks at Rook and says, she sounds pretty Kashura of herself, doesn't she?
Rook cracks a smile at Tuppence.
Kashura shoots you a glare at that. But can Embers, I think Embers and Elwyn, since you're kind of the main two involved in this, can both of you make insight checks?
Sure.
Yes. Oh no, what dice do I use?
Well, I got a big fat 7.
13.
13. So Embers, you're just like trying to, you're giving your entire social ability to like try and convince her, and so you don't pick up on anything. But Elwyn, just a little bit. When you start talking about like maybe there's another way we could help you, stuff like that, you notice something that seems out of place. there's slight reactions to the statements you're making that seem emotional. So like when you talk about her not having any friends here at the moment, it looks like it's just the slightest, twitch down of her mouth, but it seems like she has this like brief, fleeting, small tinge of, or a little bit of sadness that she feels. And then when you talk about like we're not going to stop you from building your empire, that can still happen. That's possible. You can see a bit of a smile. There's a little bit of emotion there. Yeah. She says, what other way is there, though, really?
Well, I guess working together.
Nobody works together.
It's going to sound real cheesy, but, putting a bunch of people together in one place and having them build things together rather than tear things down that other people made.
Yeah, Embers nods at that and says, I've walked a lot of this continent. There's a lot of empty space in the Stratian Empire. You could claim some of it.
See?
And you think
Look at
that they
that.
would let us remain unless we tore them down first? That's not how it works. That's
Of
naive.
course, that's how it works. There's plenty of land that you can stake your claim to and you can build there. And if it comes to defending yourself from other people, if it comes to needing to defend yourself from other people, well, that's something that you can talk about. But there are things called ambassadors and peace talks and treaties and negotiations. We can make things work without there having to be any more bloodshed, dear. Don't you want to see a bright future for your people on the surface of this earth, taking their place and having their claim?
She shakes her head and says, it could never be that way.
Sure it could. And we could help you.
We had an empire. They crushed it. If we want our place back, we have to take it.
And that's where you're wrong.
Have you spoken to the governor about all this? Or do you just assume that she's going to be against you?
She makes a valid point.
Doesn't even dignify that with a response.
I'm sure there's a part of Port Horizon crowd that she'd be happy to give to your people. Start small, work your way up, put in a nice day of hard work and earn some money, buy some land, do good for your people.
Life.
Make a name. People like to revere and worship benevolent rulers. And that's a much more successful place than somewhere that's ruled with fear and death and destruction.
She just shakes her head and says, you don't know your history. And that's all she says. But can one of you make a persuasion check with advantage?
I'll do it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do it.
I was going to give it to you.
Ellen, obviously.
I was going to give it to you. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. Here we go.
$17?
Okay. You can see that your words are falling on ears that are not totally unwilling to listen. Like she's rebutting all of your arguments with this like cynical, close-minded argument of her own, but it's not like she's ignoring what you're saying. Like you can see the gears turning in her head behind her eyes, and she is thinking about it. But before the conversation can go any further, something happens. That black tattoo that was on her shoulder shifts and moves and begins to slide across her skin until
shit.
it is sitting in the middle of her clavicle, basically, with the third eye directly in the middle. And a voice echoes out from it, and it says, "You are all very cute."
That's creepy.
What's Kashur's reaction to this?
She smiles,
Oh.
and she says, "It's about time. I was getting tired of this conversation." And the voice, not replying to her, but instead speaking to the group of you, says, "I'm afraid I need to take this one back. Her work is not yet done." And the tattoo begins to like spread across her body and begin to like cover her skin. And then as it does, she just kind of continuing to smile, looks at you, the group of you, kind of from one of you to the next, and says, "I told you I wasn't alone. Never alone. We are the horrors that haunt your past and the nightmares that plague your presence. We are the fears made manifest in your future. We are the League of Terrors." And as she says that last note, the tattoo covers the rest of her body, and basically she shrinks into a void and is gone.
Well, I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Now,
And I sit down, lean up against a tree trunk, and drink the hot cocoa.
5 comes running over. "Excuse me, what just happened? Where is the prisoner?"
She had some like disappearing ink, man.
"What was that voice?
I
Also, I appreciate your joke. That was humorous."
reckon that would have happened whether she was in manacles or not.
I think so.
Mhm.
Well, that was interesting.
and a little bit
Does anyone
terrifying.
else want some cocoa?
League of Terrors. What happened to the Brotherhood?
Well, we knew she wasn't working with the Brotherhood.
Yeah. League sounds way bigger, doesn't it?
I thought that maybe she had one or two masters, but this sounds like like you said, much bigger.
What if it was a little league, though?
Could be a little league. We don't know. This is a tiny baseball team.
Sorry.
Tuppence' arch enemies, the Little League.
Yeah. So this is Tuppence's backstory, huh? This is the dark Feywild backstory that we were waiting for.
Yeah, and so she's gone. 5 basically gets the story out of view and kind of nods along with it. "Very well. I will be sure to report this to Governor Nyasa when we return to the city. The wagon is prepared. Shall we?"
Ember's,
Yes.
being as fast as she is, darts in front of everybody else so she can get a seat in the wagon.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's room in there. A couple of the more injured wardens go in there as well. But yeah, you guys still have your horses. There's the wagon. There's plenty of modes of transportation for the rest of you to make your way back to the city. The wagon basically brings you directly up to Harbor Watch Citadel. And 5 goes and grabs the chest of eggs and starts walking into the Citadel with it and kind of motions for you to come. As a note, as you came into the city, you can see wardens pretty much everywhere, picking up the aftermath of the battle that happened here. There's definitely, you see a couple places, there's like carcasses of strange monsters. Some places you see dead wardens that are being kind of picked up. There's a lot of damage to the city that people are starting to look at. But people are coming back out onto the streets. So it seems like they weathered the attack just fine.
I wonder if the governor is all right.
You'll find out soon enough, because 5 assuming you follow, 5 pretty much leads you directly to that council chamber where you
Yeah.
met with the governor before.
Okay. Yeah, we're following.
Okay. As you're walking there, you see, well, a couple of the Harbor Watch Citadel guards, as well as a couple of Imperial wardens, one of them being Torin Brenwarham, basically walking Commander Nathaniel Locke out of the Citadel, and he is definitely manacled behind the back. And he's basically he's shouting out, "You can't do this to me! You have no proof! You can't do this unless you've got evidence!" And you can see Turka basically is overseeing this group leading out, and she says, "Oh, don't worry. We'll get the evidence, and if we don't, you're free, so nothing to worry about." And just kind of like nods as he goes. And then she spots you and says, "Oh, you're back. The governor, she'll be waiting for you. I think Kalea's still here too. She said she wanted to meet you if you made it back safely."
So exciting.
Well, that's quite an honor.
Sure is.
Lead the way.
Yeah, and she starts leading you back into the Harbor Watch Citadel. As you go, Turka explains. Was it Turka? I think it is. Yeah. Yeah, it turns out Governor wants me in charge of overseeing the investigation into the wardens. So that's a big task, but hopefully I can do it.
Yes, you're up for it.
Yeah, I think Embers would tell Turka, give her a tip of what she and Tuppence found when they were scoping out the offices. As like as a place to start.
Yeah, that's a good starting point, and we already have the descriptions and the names of, the wardens that you saw in there. So I think we've got some good leads to pull on, and we'll shake some trees and see what falls out. And basically, you're led into the chamber where you can see. Yep.
Rooks is gonna actually stop and say, "Actually, I need to talk to Torin about something. You guys go ahead without me for a bit." And he's gonna turn around and walk towards where Torin and the Nathaniel were.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Torin isn't like one of the people pushing Nathaniel along or anything like that, but he's kind of along with the group and kind of very solemnly following along. And he sees you approach and says, "Ah, Mr. Rook, you survived!
Of course I survived.
I am very happy to see you."
You survived too. That's great.
Yes, it was a harrowing battle. You should have seen this centipede creature that a group of us fought off. Its bites, it created this strange reaction. Anyone bit by it would be blinded with rage and turn on their friends. It was horrible.
Oh wow, that sounds terrible. I mean, we just had to deal with a bunch of cultists and griffins and
That sounds like a story. I'll have to come by the mill house and hear it later.
But yeah, Rook will just kind of actually ask more information about the battle that happened here, some of the details, the creatures and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he's happy to fill you in on the things he fought. He gets really excited and starts talking about. He starts telling them as if they're like these theatrical stories, that he was participating in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything in particular you want to learn?
Yeah, I do want to know. Well, one, I want to know if they found Scorch. AKA Smolder, AKA.
It's Smolder.
I know.
Torin says, yes, the fire genasi men. That was a sight to behold. Just after Kalea arrived in the city, the governor hopped on her wyvern and made to fly as if she were darting out over the ramparts of the city, following after the group of you. And that sure got Scorch's attention. He flew up on a wyvern of his own, and they started to have a battle. It was directly over the Thrim's Gate. It was an incredible sight to behold. But then, out of nowhere, Kalea and Krylide came swooping in, and the three of them battled it out over the Thrim's Gate. And I didn't see how exactly things ended because I was a little busy. But, well, suffice it to say that between the two of them, they had that situation well in hand. If he survived, he'll be in chains.
Rook is like kind of wide-eyed the whole time, excited about the story. And then he also asked, did you get the dragon's breath?
I don't know. That'd be more of a question for the governor.
Okay, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But otherwise, he'll just kind of fill in Torin on what they did and stuff like that, and what their findings were, because they've been sharing notes for a while now and stuff. So
Torin listens with kind of rapt attention.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll have to come by the mill house and get the story from the whole group of you.
Yeah.
It sounds like quite the battle.
It was pretty exciting.
And then he kind of looks, and the procession with Nathaniel is getting a little ways away, and he says, if you don't mind, I think I should get after that. I've got some more responsibility now, actually. The governor promoted me.
Oh, excellent.
9th ranked all the way to 6th rank.
Wow. What's your title? What does that mean?
Imperial Warden, Thrim's Gate Division, 6th rank.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there was because Nathaniel's commander or something, or if it was there was another.
Well, I'm not high enough rank to get a title, not yet. But
I see. Okay. Do you have your own squad of people or anything? Are you in charge of people?
He nods, kind of enthusiastically.
Oh, wow! Look at you. Okay, nudges his shoulder. Man,
I've never been in charge of people before, so
Wow.
We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, that's exciting. Congratulations. But anyways, yeah, you should go and take care of, and points towards Nathaniel's entourage.
Yeah, and he basically takes his leave and heads off after Nathaniel.
Okay.
The rest of you, and with Rook kind of following shortly behind.
Rook does not come. He does not follow shortly behind.
Oh, interesting.
No, he
Where does Rook
stays
go?
away. I don't know. He just kind of busies himself walking around, doing some other things.
Okay.
He got lost. He's not good with directions. Remember the dens?
I know exactly why he wants to avoid a certain legate, but Elwyn doesn't know, but Kay knows. Kay is paying attention.
Yeah, the group of you come into a room it's very busy. People are coming and going from here, but you can see that in the center of it is this black dragonborn you've come to know as Nyasa, and she is basically, even though it's been, because you probably had to rest on the road, so it's probably been a day since the actual battle in the city. She's still wearing, basically, it seemed either she's never taken it off or she's been she rested in it or something. She's still wearing her armor from the battle, it seems, because it hasn't been cleaned or anything like that. There's stains on it. You can also see her wyvern and the white dragon Krylide, who I think is, what size would Krylide be? Probably about the size of 2 horses or something like that. Obviously longer than tall, but a pretty big dragon. Though to those of you who are in the know about dragons, it seems to be a young white dragon. Krylide is kind of nestled in one of the other corners away from Nyasa's wyvern, and the two of them are kind of giving each other nervous looks a lot. But you can see that both of them, both the wyvern and the dragon, are injured, and there's there's a couple pools of dried blood around them. But in the center of this is Nyasa, and then standing next to her is a woman who you've only seen at a distance at this point, which is obviously Kalea Bergcrusher. Let me get a description for you. She is sort of an imposing, extremely well-muscled woman. So just bulging muscles on every surface that you can see. And she is wearing very much like a sleeveless fur vest type thing. So you can see pretty much all of the arm muscles and a lot of the shoulders and back as well. She has sort of dark grayish skin and these navy blue tattoos that cover most of her visible body. And then she has this massive axe, like it's a two-handed great axe, which is just placed on the table in the center of the room, kind of haphazardly. However, it strikes you that despite having this massive two-handed weapon, she actually only has one arm. So clearly she wields this two-handed weapon with a single arm, her left arm. And as the group of you come into the room, Nyasa looks up to you and says, Kalea, these are the Silver Seekers, the ones I was telling you about, the ones who I tasked with going after the caravan. The fact that I'm seeing the group of you here, I suppose means that you're safe. And she turns to Five and says, Five, I'll get a detailed report from you later. But first of all, to the group of you, how did things go? Were you successful?
I'll step up and I'll do my like very learned, very formal, like noble curtsy and say, first off, Legate Bird Crusher, I must say it is very much an honor to meet you. My name is Lady Elwyn Amalos. And yeah, we are the Silver Seekers. And I'll kind of roll into an explanation of what happened.
Okay. Kalea, in response to your introduction, gives you like the very slightest of a bow. Mm-hmm. And then once you've done your introductions and sort of given a little bit of a story, she says to the group of you, well done, Silver Seekers. It seems you've done the Empire a great service. And at this point, Five kind of brings the chest of eggs up and sets it on the table in front of her. Here are the eggs we procured from the caravan. As far as I am aware, she was not able to get away with any of them. And Five kind of opens the lid to reveal the 6 eggs within. And Kalea nods approvingly. Excellent. This is all very good news. It sounds like things on your end went very, very well. And she gives kind of an approving look to each and every one of you.
Yes, well, Five and his guards, we couldn't have done it without them. They were fundamentally important in the task.
I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but just so everyone, because I keep saying they for Five, but Five actually either they or him is acceptable, just so you know. Yeah.
I did just use a his.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to feel bad just because I'm saying they and you guys are saying him. It's actually either one is fine for Five. So
good to know.
There you go. She nods and says, good. It's good to know that Five is a capable commander because, and she kind of looks over to Nyasa, and Nyasa says, yes, Five, effective immediately, you will be taking over as interim warden commander for Port Horizon Shroud. We need someone to fill Commander Nathaniel Lockhart's void while we conduct our investigation and determine the validity of the allegations against him. And I can't think of any better than you. So, and Five kind of gives a little bit of a bow and says, very well. I will, of course, do the best of my ability to be of service in any way possible.
Good job, Five.
Five kind of turns to you and says, thank you. Thank you very much. This is an unexpected delight. I will have to celebrate later.
Come to the mill house.
Well, you're welcome to come to the mill house and celebrate with us.
I just might. But if I am truly to be taking over as interim warden commander, I suppose I should get to work immediately. Surely there is a lot to be done. And they look over to Nyasa, and Nyasa just kind of nods, like, yeah, there is. Very well. May I be dismissed? I do not think I need to be of any further service here until the time comes for me to give my detailed report. And Nyasa kind of, dismisses 5 and they leave.
Before 5 leaves, I will reach out. I will stretch out a hand for a handshake to them and say, 5, it was an honor going on this venture with you, and I hope we get to work together again in the future.
Why, thank you. It was
Don't think we
certainly
could have done it without him.
it was certainly a valuable experience to fight alongside the group of you. I think I learned many things.
We couldn't have done it without your expertise.
And yeah, they nod and say, I may take you up on your opportunity to visit this mill house. I've never been.
We'll
and
be
then
looking out for you.
My condolences on the promotion.
That one seems to be lost on 5 as they leave the room. This whole time, Kalea has been surveying the eggs, but she kind of closes the chest and says, yes, well, I think as soon as Krylite is in a fit enough shape to fly, I'll be taking the batch of these directly to Rubholth. I'll imagine that's safer than trying to secure a ocean vessel as the original plan. It's possible that the Brotherhood could have other backup raids in mind. So at this point, I suggest that we shake up our intended plan and I take it directly. And she turns to the group of you and says, thank you very much for bringing it this way. Between this chest of eggs, and she kind of produces something from a pouch at her side, and you recognize the silver sphere of the dragon's breath. And she kind of tosses it in the air and catches it. Between this chest and this, I think the higher-ups will be well pleased with the way we've managed to handle this situation.
Oh,
So she's got the silver spear. That's not the one that Ember's carrying.
No.
It's the ice breath or whatever, right?
Right.
For Krylite.
Oh,
She
no.
used-
The implication
Or
seems
something
to be
else.
that this is the second
Oh.
vial of dragon's breath that was stolen.
No, Embers would not interject here.
I was going to say something.
Go right ahead, because Embers is not saying anything.
About getting that back.
No, just not to Kalea.
Oh, okay. No, Ellen was going to say, look at Berg Crusher, if just, we did learn something that might be important for you to know about the masterminds behind the attack. I know that everyone's been saying that the Brotherhood, this is very out of character for them, and it's true. They weren't the ones who were pulling the strings. The Yuan-Ti that was after the eggs was working for a group called the League of Terrors. Do you know anything about that?
Let's see. She shakes her head and says, first I've heard of it, but if there's a bigger threat behind the scenes, it's certainly worth investigating.
Kashura was talking about bringing her people back to glory, and I think that this League of Terrors, it may be bigger than just a couple of cultists going after some dragon eggs. Just be careful and keep an eye out.
Yeah, she nods and says, League of Terrors, you say? Well, I don't know anything about it, but... And she kind of cracks a crooked smile. I'm not the most learned individual. However, I do live in a city with the biggest library in the Empire, so I'll put some people on it.
She mentioned a Queen Exlati. I don't know if I know that. I spent a lot of time learning.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
I don't know
anyone
if that
could
would
make a
be-
history check at that name. Obviously, you players know.
I mean, obviously I know who that is, but I don't know if Owen would. I don't know.
I got a dirty 20.
Oh, nice.
Got a natural 2. So that's a 7. I have no idea.
18.
Well, I don't know how Tuppence would have come by this knowledge. I guess maybe being a bard and just swapping stories with people. But Embers and Tuppence would know a bit more about Queen Ixlati and the history there. She was a UNT queen who ruled a long time ago. You're not necessarily sure exactly how long. But then at some point she was banished. And then pretty much fades from history for a long time until about it would have been 30 years ago, I think, when she reemerged and basically tried to, with a group of UNT, reestablish their empire over on the continent of Freydin in a city called Ravenmoor. Yeah, that's what you would know. You know that she was thwarted. You wouldn't necessarily know the details of by who or how.
Yeah.
So Tuppence is going to fly over to Krylide
Mhm.
and see if healing word would do anything for the dragon. And if that's the case, then I will ask Kalea if I can perform it for. Is it a boy dragon or a girl dragon?
Rylide's a boy. And if you want to do, if you have the ability to do some healing, you're more than welcome to. He'll recover, though. You don't have to worry about him.
But you wanted to do something. I heard you say you wanted to wait until he healed to leave. So I'm just trying to help. I'm
She
very
smiles
shy.
again and it turns to Nyasa and says, "This group is incredibly useful, aren't they? Yeah, well, if you are able to heal Krylide, that would expedite my departure."
Okay.
And she kind of gives you a nod. How close do you get to Krylide?
Well, I will fly above.
Mhm.
And
The healing word, you don't have to touch. You don't have to touch
Yeah,
Scarlet.
yeah. So just so that I can see that it works, I'll fly above and get about maybe 30 feet away.
Okay.
I don't know how big the room.
Even at that distance, you can see like this dragon has these ice blue eyes that track you the entire way. And it's definitely the look of a predator animal. It is looking at you like a tasty treat ready to snap. And it basically, at one point, it kind of like opens its jaws just a little bit and begins to extend its neck. But Kalea just whistles, just a really sharp whistle. And the thing recoils and stops doing that. And then she gives you the nod, like, go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I'll look over and say, "Hey, I'm just here to help. Here, feel better." Boop.
Okay. Yeah, you see a few of the wounds kind of close up a little bit. You don't have to roll the dice if you don't want to.
Okay.
It doesn't fully heal, but you can see, especially like bits of its wings where there are tears and things like that seem to stitch together a little bit.
Okay.
Puffins and dragons, man.
Kalea,
Be they little or big?
Kalea turns to the group of you and says, "Well, I'll imagine after the ordeal you've had, you're eager to be getting some rest. And it seems like we'll be able to fly before too much longer. But allow me to once more reiterate my gratitude for the service you've rendered to the Empire. If you ever find yourself in Fymir, consider your lodgings and accommodations on me." And then she turns to Elwyn and says, "Also, if you just happen to want to assist those I task with investigating this League of Terrors, as you called it, feel free to visit the Argent... Oh, wait, what did I name it? I need my world note. Hold on, I thought I had it. The Argent Athenaeum. Athenaeum? Athenaeum? It's a fancy word for library. It's a word.
Okay.
I believe
Yep.
you. Yep.
Kalea probably mispronounces it anyways. So
All right. Thank you for the tip. If we're in the area, we'll definitely reach out.
she nods.
We're headed up north soon anyway.
Is that so? Well then, you'll certainly have opportunity to stop by.
Maybe
if
we'll
you do,
make
I'll
a
see
side
to
trip.
it that you're well taken care of.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much, Leggett.
Yeah. And with that, she kind of turns back to the papers that she was working on. But Nyasa comes over to the group of you and says, I don't know if you saw Warden Commander Nathaniel Locke on your way out, but
We
we've
did.
taken him into custody, and I have Turka on the case. She's going to head up the investigation. Thank you. I can't thank you enough for bringing all of this to my attention. So I know I
Well,
offered
we
you.
appreciate you. We appreciate you trusting the word of complete strangers.
Well, she
Good as our intentions may have been, that had to be
seems
a
taken
risk
aback
for
that
you.
you were surprised by that, and she says, "Well, I consider myself an astute judge of character, and I could tell I wasn't being lied to. That was enough for me to take it seriously."
Elwyn nods and smiles.
So, in addition to, I know I promised you 250 gold pieces for helping with the caravan, but the group of you have done so much for this city. I've prepared 350. I hope that is enough to compensate you for everything that you've done. And she basically produces a small coffer of just 350 gold pieces. So probably a lot of it is in platinum, I
Right.
guess. So
This is very generous, Governor. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
We appreciate it a lot. I'll take the coffer.
in truth, it's the least I could do for all you've done. And she kind of gives you a bow.
I'll curtsy back. Out of habit.
Well then, Governor, if that's everything, I think we need to swing by the mill house and have a little bit of a rest. What do you think?
Ready?
All right. Let us know if you do need assistance with the trial or whatever.
Yeah, she nods and says, I think things will be okay, but Turka might come to you to collect a statement at the very least. So
All right.
she knows where
she
to
knows
find
where
you.
to find us.
Yep.
Jinx.
And with
Thank
that,
you again, Governor.
the group of you can head out. And where do they find Rook?
I think he's just in the front of the Citadel, probably like looking at the carnage and the everything that happened, kind of taking in the scenes and maybe asking passerby wardens what their experiences were or something.
Tuppence is gonna get a gold piece from the coffer before Owen puts it away. I'm gonna fling one at him.
A platinum piece.
Look what we got, Rick!
I will allow it.
We'll pick it up. Wow. There's our payment.
Yeah, there's lots more in there.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what we agreed to, at least.
Bad news is that Kalea took the last canister of Dragon's Breath into her own custody, so we won't get getting that bonus from Squall.
Well, but that was meant to find its way into her hands eventually anyway, so I'm not too worried about it.
I thought
Plus, we got a bonus from the governor anyway. She paid us 100 gold more than what she promised, so it all evens out in the wash.
Yeah.
That's true.
One of these coming up days, we should go back to Squall and give them the information as well, and the.
Yeah, I intend to.
With that, we will move on in time as the group of you head back to the mill house and get some rest. Just one more thing happens before you get there, which is that as you're walking back through the city, you all spot this white dragon up in the sky, clutching between its two front claws a chest that you recognize, with Kalea Birdcrusher astride it, soaring out of Harbor Watch Citadel across the city, just over your heads, and northward. And as it flies over, a big hot drop of dragon's blood falls and lands on the ground not too far from you. And Rook, as you kind of observe this sight and watch this blood drop fall from the dragon, you feel pain in your mouth. There's a little bit of a stabbing pain.
Mm-hmm.
And a hunger that does not belong to you.
Oh no. Okay. Thank you.
What?
And with that, what do the group of you want to do with your next couple of days? At this point, it is the 21st of Dice, and I believe that Ember's promised a date to Braca on
I've
the
got a
22nd.
thing coming up on the evening of the 22nd.
Rook is going to be upset and brood. Not really.
This
shall
is the
we
point
divvy
where
up
someone
this-
needs to jump
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Sorry, I was scrolling back up to my notes of the things, but are we going to divvy up this money from the governor so we each have some spending money, or how are we gonna split this up? Are we gonna start like a party fund, or what do y'all want to do?
Having some spending money is not a bad idea.
We
But-
got 350 gold.
I'd say a little bit of both would be fine.
Well, my pockets fill up pretty easily, so can somebody carry my share?
I mean, I'm already carrying the.
How are we? Does anyone have plans to go shopping? How much gold do we want to carry on our person?
Probably up to the individual. And then we just put the rest in the.
Why don't we let's call it a party fund for now, and the group of you can just take anything you want to do for these events, and then the
Oh,
group
sure.
of you
Okay.
can have a chat kind of offline and decide how you want to divvy it up.
That's a smarter way to do it.
Okay. I
You have
can.
such a smart DM.
Do you want me to take care of that then?
Sometimes.
Okay. Or
We can figure it out later.
well,
but
I'll just add it to mine
you can
because I already
track
have the.
the money for now, yeah,
Yeah.
since you've got the party stuff.
Got it.
You're the numbers guy.
And the hungry guy apparently.
Well, I guess
Did you salivate?
we'll start with
No.
if it's the next day
Mhm.
after we have like an evening to rest or whatever. The first thing Ellen will probably want to do is go visit Squall and let him know the results of our quest, just so he has some closure. And I'll invite any of you to come with me if you want.
I'll go.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
I had a feeling
Um,
Tuppence would want to come.
Very readily. Yeah, I love that idea.
The group of you go, those of you who want to attend, and have sort of a brief meeting with Squall over tea, coffee, and cookies. And he's disappointed to learn that you weren't able to recover either of the remaining dragon's breaths. And you get that he was kind of hoping to be able to make some kind of a profit on those. But true to his word, he makes sure to hand over the deed to the Amber Hearth Keep. And he says, now the group of you should be able to just put your names on here, sign in these locations, and the place should be yours. But there will be someone in Amber Hearth, I'm sure, someone who's responsible for this sort of thing on their city council, who you want to speak with to make sure that things get all officially documented.
All right. I think that sounds easy enough. Thank you.
And for what it's worth, if I ever have business up that direction, I'm very excited at the prospect of knowing someone who owns a keep.
You're welcome anytime. In fact, that'll be fun to make up a spare chamber.
I'm sure there's plenty of room for guests,
Yeah, he
although we are
nods.
very excited to see it.
in person.
I'm sure that it is going to be wonderful, and you're going to fill it up with all sorts of lovely and wonderful things before too long. Well, honestly, I'm very excited for you. Yeah, and he doesn't. I don't think I have anything else for him
So,
to do.
Nah, that's
because
cool.
we
I don't
didn't-
think we.
Because we didn't give him the actual unused Dragon's Breath, he's not going to give us that other reward, right?
Right.
Okay. Dang.
But you did get that extra 100 gold from
Yeah.
Nyasa, so.
All right. That's really all I wanted, was just to give him some closure and to collect the deed. So
Yep. And as you leave, he says, I'm sure I'll be seeing you before too long. If I don't see you before you leave the city, have a safe travel, and I hope to talk to you again soon. I know that Braca is very much looking forward to an event with Embers I think that's tonight, actually.
that's right. Well, thank you again for your kindness and your hospitality. And sorry we couldn't recover those last 2 items for you, but you know where to find us.
This is the way that life goes. I understand completely. Thank you so much for your services. Well worth the price. And he kind of with a final wave says, hope to do business with you again someday. Farewell.
Don't
Farewell.
be a stranger. You're welcome anytime. Oh, did you hear that, Elwin? He's coming into the keep.
I don't know if your little heart will be able to take much more of that.
She's flying around, fluttering. Sparkles are coming out.
Did Embers come with us to Squalls, or did Embers stay
No.
back?
She said
Then
that.
I will say to Tuppence as we head back, do you want to take a side trip and buy some nice things for Embers to wear on her date tonight?
Yes, I've been wanting to buy her. Did you notice she loves jewelry? Let's find something nice.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea.
Okay.
How much
go
do you
shopping.
want to spend on an outfit?
Ooh, I wasn't planning a whole outfit, but maybe some jewelry or some. I think Tuppence can pick out jewelry because that was her idea, and I think Elwin wants to get her like a bottle of perfume.
You can definitely buy all these things with the money you have. I just want to know how much you want to
But like,
spend on it.
yeah, like maybe like 1 to 5 gold for the perfume, depending. Something nice. I don't know how much Tuppence wants to spend on a necklace. That'll be up to you.
Let's go see what we can barter and get.
Well, I mean, we're gonna fast forward this, so I just sort of want to know how nice you want to go. So how much gold do you want to throw at this?
If
2 gold for the perfume.
Okay.
2 gold.
And probably 10 gold. If there's a tiara, I'll get her a tiara.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can get all of these things. It's just depending on how much money you throw at it, how nice it is. So you've got this little tiara. Did you get an outfit too?
Nah.
No.
Nah.
Okay.
No.
And then this perfume.
I feel like that's overstepping. I feel like an outfit would be overstepping, but
Yeah,
perfume and a
maybe.
tiara is not really. But you know,
perfume smells like.
You don't even know Ember's measurements.
no, we don't. No. And she seemed, after how she reacted to the capes, she seems a little bit picky about clothes. So, so after we're done shopping, Elwin will say to Tuppence, all right, well, I feel like Embers is going to be really embarrassed by this, but I think we need to just corner her upstairs in the room and help her get ready and give her the gifts and offer our help. What do you think?
Well, she's I'm sure she's nervous, giddy, excited, and all that, but I really think she's going to be happy when she sees these. I hope she likes
hope so
tiaras
too.
as much as I do. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Go back to the mill house. Find Embers.
What do they find Embers doing?
Is she there?
Yeah, I think she's there. God, what is she doing? I think she's mending another hole in her tunic that got ripped during the fight. She's just now like giving it a once over, and is like found a needle and thread somewhere and is patching it up again.
All right. So we'll come into the room as she's working. Say, hi, Angus. What you got there? Sorry, didn't mean to startle you.
I didn't. I think that she's like trying to like cover herself with it because she only has this one thing and she had to take it off to work on it. She's like, oh, and she's like holding it up in front of her.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll turn around
Mhm.
so that she can kind of
Mhm.
have some decency.
Yeah. One moment, and she puts it back on. Okay. All right. What did you want?
Well,
I thought you'd be gone longer.
well, it turns out that our meeting with Squall didn't take too long. But Tuppence and I we made a little trip to the market, and we got you some gifts for your date tonight.
Hope that's
Tuppence?
okay.
Amber's expression is like unreadable. It's like she might be happy, but she might also just be like scared and nervous and just like deer in the headlights happy.
Well,
And-
Tuppence, go ahead and show her what you got.
Look. I fly up and put it on her, on top of her head. But I can also do your hair for you tonight. Would you like that? I love to braid your hair.
Yeah, we could put some flowers in it.
Oh, I don't know if we have time for all that.
Oh, sure we do.
I'll be fast.
It's not even lunchtime yet.
All right. Sure.
Also, I got this for you, and I'll hand her the bottle of perfume.
Okay.
It's I don't know if you're used to this kind of thing, but I got something that it smells like you. It smells like the sun, and warm summer day.
Amber's eyebrows like shoot up. What?
Yeah, it's got notes of amber and sandalwood and a little bit of musk, but and I will pull out a piece of paper from my bag, and I will spray the paper and kind of fan it in front of her nose. What do you think?
We can call it Ember Glows.
I'm gonna roll a deception check.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
I rolled a 13, which goes down to an 11. What's your passive insight?
It's 15.
Okay. I think Ember said, it smells great. And you can see that like it's overpowering, like her eyes are watering, like this is too much for her senses.
Right. I will pull the paper away and say, well, we can put a little bit of a spritz on your shirt and fan it out for like an hour. Be fine.
While you're working with my hair.
You don't have to use it if you don't want to. And I will set it on the table. I'll throw the paper out the window.
Okay.
If it's too much,
Someone down below, just in the street, is like,
say.
"Do I smell sandalwood?"
And the sun?
We did want to ask though. Do you want us to help you go shopping for an outfit, something special?
No. No.
Or do you want to shop for materials so you could make something yourself?
Oh, we don't have time for that, certainly.
All right. Well, let's just fix your hair then, and I will.
And I think she says a little bit like, really quality seamstress, sewing, dressmaking takes a lot longer than a couple of hours.
Well,
That's true.
we could go shopping in Amberhearth maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Get you something for the future.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, and I'm going to reach into my bag again, and I'm going to take out my hairbrush. And it's the most expensive thing that I carry with me. It's very fine, and it looks expensive. And the handle is made of this very shimmery, kind of ethereal looking crystal that's a little bit bluish, purplish, clear crystal. And she takes it out,
And she kind of looks at Embers and she's like, "May I?"
If you must.
Come on, Tuppence.
Come
And
on.
I'm gonna start taking the ties out of Ember's hair, taking it down from the bubble ponytail, and just start brushing it with my hairbrush.
Okay.
And let Tuppence braid it as we go.
Pew, 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 pew. A few of my sparkles, I think, kind of get caught in it.
Now, do you want an updo, or would you like your normal ponytail back with just some flowers and braids woven in?
Oh, the normal look is good. The usual.
All right.
So like slowly put it back in the bubbles after it's all brushed and sleek looking, and we'll weave some flowers and some tiny little braids through.
I'm trying to imagine what it would look like for someone of Tuppence's size to try and braid this much hair. Be like, imagine like wading through like a cornfield, and I'm gonna braid all this corn.
Oh,
Well,
man,
I'm imagining she's doing like tiny ones, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm using my wings. I'm using everything. My feet. It's just
like a
all
whole
a blur.
workout.
You also have
It's
mage
just like a
hand.
blur.
Yeah.
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 And so so like I say, I think some of my iridescent sparkles kind of get
Nice.
caught in there. So she's glowing too.
All right.
That's great.
While all of this is happening and the two of you are getting Embers ready for her date, what is Rook doing?
Yeah, so I didn't want to interrupt, but I think Rook split away when he said, "Hey, I'm gonna do some shopping myself while you guys help Embers prepare." That seems like a thing that you guys would be better at. So, and he's gonna do some shopping that Ethan and I already know of, and I'll get to that in a little bit.
Do you want to just do that real quick?
Sure. I mean, we can do it, I
Okay.
guess. Okay.
Rook goes out into the market ward of the city and finds, basically roll me a perception check because you're
Okay.
looking for something very specific.
Yep. Oh, 19.
Okay. Yeah, easy enough. They're actually, a lot of the merchants haven't quite got set up again yet after all of the disruption within the city, but this merchant is out in full force. You see the kobold that drew Elwyn's attention, the last time you passed through this district, and he's wearing the same beret, the artistic beret, and has a array of statuary made out of sort of reclaimed junk, clearly from the fun pile.
Yep.
And yeah, you can see there's a sign over head also made of reclaimed junk that says Meepo's Marvelous Moldings.
Okay. So he approaches Meepo.
Hello, I am Meepo. These are my marvelous moldings. What can I do for you?
I'd like to place an order, please.
Well, all of Meepo's moldings are made custom to order, so you tell Meepo what you wish, and Meepo will make the statuary. Do you see?
Yeah, of course. And Rook will look at the craftsmanship of the different abstract statues that Meepo made, and kind of like, okay, and get an idea for the quality level and what he's capable of.
Meepo makes the most fine statuary in the city. You will see. Very fine work.
He's like, wow, this is really great stuff.
I can tell that you are shopping for a loved one. I think Meepo knows.
Oh my god. You want to come to the mill house with it? So Rook will place an order for a tiny statue. I'll subtract the gold.
Yes, a statue of that size, I will only charge you 5 gold. You get friends and family discount.
Oh, thank you. So kind. I can see why you're the best statue maker in the city.
Meepo kind of nods proudly. And what sort of statue will we be making today?
I was hoping something nature-based.
Well, that is a very wide spectrum.
Yeah.
You can make
Maybe like
make some wolves, some trees.
Yeah, maybe
a rabbit.
Yeah, maybe like rabbits or birds, and
Well, which one is it? Is it a rabbit or is it a bird?
Can you do both in one little thing, or is it a statue? Is it
well,
one
if
animal?
I make
He wants
both,
to do
I
one
will have
animal.
to charge you 10 gold.
Oh, he wants it's
But
per
they
animal.
are very
I
marvelous.
understand. Okay. yeah, maybe like, I don't know, maybe a rabbit then, little bunny.
You, of course, know exactly what this loved one of yours will want, so I will take it on your word that this is the way to go.
Yes.
A bunny, you said? I will
Yes.
make a bunny.
All right, great.
You come back here 5 hours. Meepo will have it done.
Perfect. Wow, that's fast.
Yes, Meepo is very quick, quickest statuary on the market.
That's great. Okay, yeah, thanks so much. And then
Be sure to tell all your friends, Meepo is marvelous.
oh my gosh. I'm so happy
Kind
I
of
went here.
tips the beret at you.
Yeah. Rook does a small bow. And yeah, then he walks off.
Yeah, and Meepo basically goes to work in the back of like this tent. You can hear like clanking and all these sounds of
Sweet.
Meepo going to work on this statuary. And if you come back just a few hours later, it is done. And it's this very like abstract art statuette of a bunny made of just various sort of reclaimed pieces of junk from the junk pile. But it is artistic. Like it is beautiful and artistic in its own way. It's just very unique.
Worth every gold piece. Okay, great. Sounds good to me.
Please come to be shopping at Meepos once again.
Yeah. All right, well, I will acquire that. You want to go back to the others, or?
Well, I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to do while you're out and about?
Not necessarily location specific, but the other thing I wanted to do was do some try and well, two things with Nyadon. One is I wanted to talk to them. The other thing is I wanted to sort of test them and see. I wanted to test how much they can actually perceive, and if they can only perceive, like if they get the knowledge that's like what I'm thinking and stuff, or is it like only what I see and what like
Oh,
what
I see.
how much they experience and what they actually, you know. What?
Roll a persuasion check to see how cooperative Nyadon is with this.
Oh no, I mean if they're not cooperative, I would just do it. I would just have little things I would do by myself.
Oh, okay.
Like I would like
then,
write something without looking and like, you know.
Then yeah, roll an insight check. We'll see
Okay.
what you figure out.
Sure. Or I can ask him first, but oh, I rolled natural 1, so I'm really bad at this.
You're trying to test the limits of my perception, aren't you? I can tell, Vertinor.
Well, yeah. Do you want to just tell me? We're stuck
I
together
see
anyways.
what you see. I hear what you see, or
hear
what you
see.
hear.
Whoa.
But I know much more.
I see. I mean, you see. Okay. Also, what are you doing to me?
There's silence for a moment. You and I are working together. We are partners in this endeavor.
Right, but partners...
I'm not doing anything to you.
I don't believe him. Can I roll insight?
Sure.
All right. Ah, that's the insight roll I wanted before. That is plus 4, so that is a 26. Lihedon. Let's see what you say.
Lihedon, I mean, Lihedon is apt. You sense for a brief moment the sort of connection that you have flips the other way, and whereas up till now Nihedon has pretty much sensed all of your feelings and things like that, you flip that on its head, and you're able to reach back, and you can tell that yes, Nihedon has an agenda and plans and things that they want, or that he wants you to accomplish, and he is and does to some extent, and has in the past to some extent, subtly influenced you.
Sure.
Make those things happen.
Yeah. So I know that player knowledge level, you and I know what's more going on. Does Rook know? How much does he know about this entity?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, that's what I need to know. So, Yeah, but I think Rook will say, yeah, but the other day with the blood, go ahead and try and lie to me that that's not because of you.
It may have been because of me, but that was not an intentional effect. I saw something, I longed for something, and you felt the rippling effects of that. It was not as if I intentionally influenced you in any one way or another.
And these effects, are they? Did I notice anything else like lingering? Like, was it just like a fleeting feeling?
There was a sharp pain in your mouth. You might have
Mm.
tasted a little bit of blood in your mouth, but then as you like reached up and felt in there, there was nothing.
Okay, but then even after that, like, there was no like effects. That like it was just
Nope.
like it was just
Nope.
like one time thing.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, Roku kind of just like nod to himself, I guess, and warily like, I see. I mean, I'm sure you understand this is a bit worrisome for me. First of all, I'm talking with someone in my head. The other thing now is that I'm noticing these.
You have greater things to worry about, Vertinor. This League of Terrors you've become entangled with.
Mm-hmm.
They are more powerful and influential than you care to get involved in.
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me why I shouldn't.
Only grave danger awaits down that path. For your sake and for mine,
Right.
please.
Will he share any details with me, or is it just gonna
roll
be
a persuasion check.
sure? Man, this okay. I'm not using this dice anymore. I did not succeed. I got a 2 on the dice.
After giving that warning, Nihedon goes kind of silent.
Okay.
But with your previous insight check, what you glean with that sort of moment before Nihedon is able to kind of like sever your pathway towards his emotions and feelings is that there's recognition. Nihedon has some recognition and knowledge that he has not shared.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So, and then also, just for clarity, based off what he told me about his perception of what he can experience. So, if Rook were to like look up and then write something that he can't see, but he knows what it is, would Nihedon know what that is?
Based on what he just said, theoretically, no.
Okay. I see. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think Rook will just probably this conversation might linger for a little bit, but that's how he spends a decent chunk of time.
Okay. Night rolls around, and it is time for Embers to head out for her date.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
I think, how long did the two of you spend fawning over her?
I mean, we'll
As long
probably,
as you will tolerate it.
yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. We'll hang out unless we can. Should I make an insight check? Because I know you're not gonna say it to our faces, or would you say it to our faces?
What?
That you're starting to get
Oh,
that you need space.
yeah. It's an easy insight check.
Okay. Oh yeah, and that was an 18 on die, so
Okay,
that
well, I
was
rolled a 7 on
23.
that deception.
Yeah, so if I can sense that you are starting to feel like you need some space and some peace and quiet to kind of mentally prepare, I will usher Tuppence. I'll be like,
Tuppence, I haven't heard you perform in a long time. Do you want to go downstairs and maybe play for everybody?
After a drink or two.
Yeah, let's go. Let's give Ember some time to recenter herself.
Sounds great. That was fun, Embers. Thanks.
You
Good
look
luck with your
beautiful.
day.
See you
Smell really good too.
soon.
All right. If you want to stay out all night, that's your prerogative.
Mm.
Bye.
Bye. Good luck.
All right. Embers like closes the door behind them and goes, oh. And I think spends like maybe like 10 minutes, just like kind of nervously pacing around the room before she decides it's time to go. And then like climbs out the window instead of going downstairs, and just climbs down the side of the building. And like takes a deep breath in, and then lets it all out. And then stands there for a second. And then she walks off the other direction toward the Salty Stein, where she goes to get blind drunk.
Somewhere out in the city, Braca is waiting outside the fancy restaurant known as the Gastronome. But Embers does not show up. And Embers, how does your night go? How much of it do you remember?
I think that I don't come back to the mail house that night. I'm pretty sure she spends like the night like passed out in an alley. Probably someone steals that tiara.
I'll roll a check.
Yeah, that tiara.
Someone steals that tiara. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, like Embers gets good and wasted and gets like real loud and rowdy with the crowds, and everyone's like freely spends the money that she just got on like rounds to everybody until the bar closes and everyone leaves, and Embers also just stumbles out and passes out.
Yeah. And Embers, I guess, wakes up at some point in the morning and would make her way back to the mill house. The group of you might see her stumble in. I don't know how much space you give her.
I'm going to roll another insight check. Ooh, that one's not as good.
I'll also roll one.
That one's an 11.
Let me make a deception check. Hey, I actually rolled ridiculously high. I got a 15 on my deception check.
Oh, I got a 17 on my insight.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like Embers is trying to play it off. She's like, good morning, everyone. And she's trying to like be extra quiet and mumbly as if she's being like just shy about and like coy. But like Rook can tell that she's just like having a really hard time keeping herself upright.
I think Rook will offer, like, do you need a hand getting upstairs, Embers? You look a little tired.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Kind of, help her, offer an arm or whatever she needs, and get some water on the way from Nora. And just get her comfortable and situated in the room wherever she wants, and doesn't ask any questions. Understands that there's something going on, and that, she's already quiet. She doesn't need to be panicking over anything else. So
yeah, I think she just curls up in the corner with her book.
Yeah. Just call down if you need anything, okay? And then he'll leave her with the book and shut the door.
Later, Rook.
Does Embers pretty much just spend the day in there?
Yeah.
Okay. What does everyone else do?
Tuppence, I need some moral support. Will you come with me?
Sure. I wanted to talk to Malt before we leave, but I'll
Please,
go with you.
Go ahead. This can wait.
Okay. Because are we leaving tonight or tomorrow?
Oh, for Amberhearth, you guys have a lot more preparations to do. So probably, and you still have room and board in the mill house for a couple weeks. So
Oh,
you can
okay.
stay here in town for a little bit.
Okay, so it can wait. I'll go with you. Ellen.
Oh, all right. Yeah, then I'm going to head to the oh crap, what's it called? The place where you can hire the messengers,
station.
right?
Oh, the station.
Messenger service, I think.
Yes.
Station
Because
messenger
the acronym
service.
is SMS.
That's how I remember it.
Hilarious. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't
That
think
was
I
an
wrote
accident.
that down last time. Okay. Station messenger service.
Mm-hmm. And what do you want to do at the station messenger service?
I think that I'm going to stand outside looking at the menu again for a really long time. And I'm going to roll a dice. Yeah, that's okay. I'm not going to roll that one anymore.
And eventually I'll just say, Tuppence,
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think the group would think about having a messenger Drake all our own?
Well, I for one would love it. You got my
I,
vote.
I thought you would. That's why I asked you to come with me. Maybe we could
I
just-
invited the person I knew would say yes.
That's great. That was perfect.
Yep. I knew that you would be in my corner, Tuppence. I knew it.
Well,
What do you
I mean,
think?
we're gonna
I mean-
own a manor. I think it would come in really, really handy. I mean,
I-
what's the downside? What would they
I
say?
know, and this way you can keep in contact with Squall or anyone, and Amber's could send messages to Bronca, and any of us could contact anybody that we'd like to, right? That's the whole point. So, I was considering just getting an egg, and then maybe we could raise it ourselves, and that would be cute. But we did get more money from Nyasa than we thought we would. Maybe we can just get one that's already trained. What do you think?
I'll go in with you if you let me train it and help you. I would rather
Please.
get one that's
You want to get an egg?
ours.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's go inside.
Okay. One of these eggs will run you 35 gold pieces. And there's an optional guidebook to raising messenger
Yes.
drakes that comes from 5
Absolutely.
gold.
Yes, absolutely. Need that. Yes.
I haven't put in the thought to what goes into that, but yes, when
yeah.
the time comes, you have a book on it.
Do you want me to take it out of the party funds?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I assume that we will split our whatever our personal funds were on it.
Oh
but
yeah, take another 20 gold for Embers' Wild Night Out.
Wow. I mean, at the Salty Stein, even if you're buying drinks for the whole bar, I don't think you'd run more than
I probably didn't, but the rest of what she had on her is probably
Oh.
also gone.
fair
stolen.
enough.
Yeah.
I love how you're recklessly throwing away your money.
Yeah.
Well, we could
Right.
just after we divide it up, you could just say that
Yeah.
yours is gone or whatever, rather than anyway. Yeah. So we go in and we buy a messenger drake egg and carry it back very gently and proudly back to
Yeah.
the mill house.
So it's not a very big egg. It's bigger than a chicken's egg, but
Bit
I mean, it's still
ostrich-sized.
Smaller than
not that
yeah,
big.
okay, there we go.
It fits in your hand, and it has this sort of sky blue shell, but with gray wispy swirls across it, like clouds almost. Yeah, and you know that you need to basically take it home and then get it someplace warm, and that's what you know so far.
And that is what I'm going to do.
Okay. There you go. Money well spent. While the group of you are out, something happens back at the mill house while Embers is curled up in her room resting. You hear a thud against the outside wall of your room, Embers.
Oh. Is it
It's followed by another thud.
the door or the window?
It's by the
wall?
window. It's by the
Okay.
window.
Okay.
You look out and Bronca's holding a boombox above her head.
Yeah, I guess I'll go over to the window and open it.
Yeah. You look down and you see Braca down there about to throw another rock at the window.
Mhm.
And when she sees you open it, she sets the rock down and she says, "Embers of white ash! You stood me up! Get down here! I was promised a date! We're going on a date!"
I'm reading. I have a book.
She throws a rock at the wall next to the window. "Get down here!"
Embers closes the window.
Does she just go back to reading?
Yeah.
About 2 minutes pass and you hear thud, 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 thud on the door of the room. "Nora told me you're in here.
She was wrong.
I'll
Wait.
get Squall to pay for it, and I'm gonna kick this door down if you don't
Oh,
open it up and come
please
with
don't.
me right now."
No, Nora doesn't deserve that. And Embers opens the door.
And yeah, you see Braca standing there. She's wearing one of the suits, like the fancy suits that she wears at Squall's place. She looks all done up for her date, and she says, "This time I'm picking the location, though." And she kind of offers her arm to you.
Are you sure about this?
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right. You're stronger than me. I'm not going to put up a fight here. Sure, and I'll take Ember's. We'll take Draka's arm.
Okay. And she basically leads you out into the town, but instead of going to a fancy place like the Gastronome, you find yourself in another very much like dive bar. Not quite as bad as the Salty Stein.
Oh yeah, sorry. I meant to explain to everybody that Salty Stein is like this terrible, awful place.
It is what
And
it sounds like. The whole place
it's
is
like at the
crusty.
docks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't take you anywhere quite as bad as that, but it's very much a dive bar. And I'm finding my notes here. She basically takes you straight to the bar and looks the barkeep in the eyes and says, 2 shots, your strongest liquor. And she just like motions to the counter in front of her, and the barkeep brings those. She hands you one and says, "Look, Embers, I know you were trying to be fancy, and then I'm assuming you got scared or something like that.
Can you still? I think Embers would ask, can you still smell it?
Oh yeah, but don't worry, I've smelled worse. Look, the point I'm trying to make here is I didn't want any of that fancy shit. Gastronome, I've never been. Squall's gone. He's invited me. I never took him up on it. It's not my scene." And she gestures to this kind of bar. "This is where I like to hang out. Places like this. This is where I wanted to be with you. Is that okay?"
It is more fitting. This is
Good.
where I think Embers nods. This is where the kind of place that I used to hang out too.
That's what I thought, and that's why I liked you. Now drink your shot.
Embers chugs it, like throws it back.
Yeah. And basically, Braca begins to like guide you through a night similar to last night in a lot of ways, except it's a lot more. The emotion is totally different, you know, because you're with someone. But it's very much like the same raucous thing. Like she starts a bar fight, and I assume you help her finish it.
Yeah.
And it's like there's a lot of playing darts, there's a lot of gambling, there's a lot of you know, I mean, there's points missing in your memory in the night, but the stuff that you do remember is basically like you're out on the town and kind of causing trouble and hopping from bar to bar and just drinking a lot. And it seems like she's having a great time. I won't speak for Embers, but she seems to be having a very good time.
Yeah. Embers enjoys himself too. I think it takes a minute, or not like more than a minute. It probably takes a while for her to really like get in the spirit of it. But yeah, eventually she lets go and starts having a good time too.
"See, was that so hard?" she says at the end of the night. "That was fun, wasn't it?"
It was. I'm sorry, Braca. You know what it was for me? It was the suit. I thought of you as a very fancy person in clothes like that, and I thought I couldn't measure up to that.
She shakes her head and says, "The suits are all Squall."
Yeah, well, I'm sorry about last night.
Don't worry about it. And yeah, so like at the start of the date, she very much was like, bah! And like kind of dragging you along. But as the date goes on, she kind of returns to her. I mean, at least in the points where you're not like bar fighting with people and stuff like that, she returns to her more like taciturn kind of like short sentences, the sort of flow that she had with Embers before.
Yeah.
And finally, she just says, "Look, I know it's been a while for you, but
Yeah,
I had fun."
And I mean, Brockett, you know I'm not gonna stay around here, right? I didn't want to. I didn't want to set something up and start something that I was just going to bail on again.
Look, I knew that's what I was signing on for. I just wanted to have fun with someone who has no diseases.
Amber's like laughs long and hard at that.
That's great.
And look, Squall does business all over the Empire. If I'm ever in Amber Hearth, we can have a second. And she kind of just winks, and with that starts to head away for the night.
All
She's
right.
kind of brought you back to the mill house by that point.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think she says anything to that, but just like nods to herself and walks back upstairs.
Yeah, you get the feeling you didn't have to, because like she totally just turned around and walked away. So.
All right.
Yep. Let's fast forward time into a bit of a more long-term thing for just a bit.
Well, I had one specific thing I wanted to do.
Sure.
So that day, as Elwyn and Tuppence left, Rook also left, and he was scoping out locations. And then the next morning, he would approach Elwyn and basically ask if, I don't know if you want to just like do this in character, if you want to just
do it in
fast
character.
forward.
Go for
Okay.
it.
Hey, Elwyn.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about some things. Do you have some time today?
Can I insight check? Can I insight check?
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if I need to roll anything yet because I don't know what you're inciting, but.
Okay. Well, that's a 15,
okay.
And I'm just trying to get a read on, like, I know things, and I don't know if you know that I know things.
I don't think.
And
I know that.
I'm trying to get a read on like how serious it is, or like if I can kind of like, what's his mood? What kind of attitude?
So it's kind of I already see what you're saying, so I know this is kind of funny, but like you're worried, like she's worried about the wrong thing, but like she's right to be worried about something is how to put it, I guess.
Okay,
just like throwing everything out there, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of like walks up, and you can see that he's like kind of looking at the ground a little bit, and so it's obvious he has something on his mind, something that it's not like haha, just happy gestures. It's just like he's like, yeah, I kind of want to like go and talk about this, like just for.
Okay. Yeah. Then Elwyn will kind of stand up and brush her skirts off and kind of taking in that kind of a little semi-nervous energy, not really making eye contact either, and saying like, all right, I have time.
Okay.
Lead the way.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, I think we can also have some fun while we're at it. I found some nice places you might like. And so yeah, I think so. The sort of itinerary he had set up was that he wanted to take her on, like, there's like a nice cafe that he found, and then also like a little like arboretum or like nature walk. I just like walk around, and then he also wanted to give her the statue that he bought. This was a gift. And then along the way, have a conversation about things. So the conversation would be eventually be like, hey, I just first of all, I just wanted to apologize about lying to you and being that way. It's kind of the
I'm
main
sure
thing.
you had your reasons.
They're never good enough, though.
No, they're not, are they?
No, they really aren't, and I couldn't really stand to just continue. So
What
I
are you
wanted
saying?
I'm just saying that it's very hard for me to do that, and I don't want to anymore.
Did I ever tell you about why I left home?
No, I don't think you did.
I assume there's some place, if we're taking a walk
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, I figured that one
there's
of those
someplace to
locations,
sit
once we
down.
have, yeah, like some privacy or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll sit down on a bench in the nature walk or whatever. Just kind of look at my hands kind of folded in my lap, and I will say, growing up, my daddy and I were always real close. It was just him and me. I didn't have any siblings, and well, they said my mother died giving birth to me, so it's just me and my daddy. And you know, he was my whole world. But Brooke, I learned that he lied to me. He was lying to me my whole life about my mom. She's not dead.
Oh, where is she?
I don't know. Nobody knows. But I couldn't stand to stay in that house knowing what I know. And I couldn't lie to everyone that I love. And I had to know where she was, so I left. And it's been almost 2 years now, and I still haven't forgiven him for lying to me my whole life. And I don't know anything, but I do know that some secrets need to be kept. I do know that some people need to protect their secrets because it could be life or death. And I make eye contact with you as I say this.
Yeah, Rook looks really he's kind of like a mix of emotions. Like now he's like afraid that he was overheard and he's like, "Oh shoot." Like so his eyes go a little wide and I think he just flat out just like let's see. Oh gosh, this is a hard one.
I'm not asking you to tell me your truth. I'm just asking you not to lie to me. If it's something that you can't share because it's too dangerous, then just say that.
And then yeah, Rook will just look at her in the eyes and say, Ellen, that's exactly why.
I know.
He's like, I don't want to do that, but for everybody's safety, you know, I can't just speak about things openly. I'm sorry.
I'll
At least
stand
not
up
easily.
and kind of facing away from him, I'll say, I know. I don't know much about the Empire, and I don't know anything about what happened to Vogma, but whatever it is that you're involved in, whatever it is that Night Mantis wants to guard you from, it scares me, Rook. And then she kind of laughs and she says, she looks around, there's no one around. She goes, I guess if it's just us, I should call you by your real name.
Rook kind of like
she turns around,
smiles
and looks at you.
Yeah.
In the interest of honesty, I followed you that night that you went to meet with her. I saw everything.
Yeah, I think Rook's his hands are kind of folded in his lap and he kind of looks down and nods as like his his suspicions are real now and he's like, I see.
I haven't said anything to anybody, and I'm not planning to. You're just Rook to me. You're a member of the Silver Seekers.
Well, I'll tell you this.
But I do know that you're not who you say you are.
Yeah, and Rook nods, and I was considering not coming with you to Amberhearth. I'm not coming with,
Why?
and just because I was afraid that I would bring trouble along the way. But I've been sort of fighting that for a few nights, going back and forth, wondering if I'm too dangerous to bring along or not.
Well, I'm not going to tell you what to do or what decision to make, but I think this group finds enough danger as it is.
Yeah, I think you're right about
And
that.
I think that you would be safer if you had some friends around you.
That's kind of what I've been struggling with, is that I've been alone for a long time, and this is definitely the first time I've had a close group of people, and it's nice.
But you do realize that there's only so much we can do to help you if we don't know the whole story, right?
Let me just say this though too, is I think one of the things that Night Mantis is protecting me from is potentially Kalea, which is why I did not come to the meeting.
I figured it was something like that.
And
What
I
would
didn't
she
want to make a
have?
scene.
What would she have against you?
She would have killed me, Elwyn.
Ellen will just take that and nod and say, okay.
I don't think I did anything wrong to her, but that's the way things are right now.
Okay. Then we won't go out of our way to take her up on her offer then.
I mean, I'm sure that the Silver Seekers still could use those facilities or whatever, but I would definitely keep myself scarce.
Well, I'm sure, I don't speak for Embers and Tuppence, but I'm sure none of us would want to put you in that position.
Yeah, that was definitely a very difficult place for me to go. I didn't think it was wise if I followed, just on the the chance. So
Ellen will kind of like, I assume at this point you've already given her the little figurine that you bought for her.
yeah, I think maybe at the beginning of the nature walk.
Right. And
Yeah.
she'll kind of hold it up and give kind of a half smile and say, so is this what this was all about?
Hmm?
Guilt? Guilt
Hmm.
for lying and keeping secrets? All of this? She gestures around at the place where they are. And
No, not necessarily. Some, but also just because of I definitely appreciate the friendship that we have, and that we've all grown close, and just also a way of just saying, thank you, and I like what we have, and I want to keep going. I'm just kind of scared.
and you have to show a little bit more trust and a little bit more honesty. But
It's
even
yeah.
even if you don't tell us anything, we're still gonna fight to protect you. You know that, right?
And Rook nods, and yeah, I figured, and I would do the same for any of you.
I know. Well, shall we? She'll just start walking off.
Yeah, and Rook will come with.
And with that, we'll start to fast forward time a little bit. So you guys probably have a couple weeks to prepare as you're getting ready to start making the journey to Amber Hearth. And we can talk about what sort of preparations you might make in our little group chat. Like if you guys want to buy horses or supplies or things like that, we can take care of that elsewhere. But you do have some downtime to use. And I know Tuppence had a few things she wanted to do with that time at the very least. So Tuppence, what do you want to do? you've got some time on your hands while the group of you are preparing.
Yep. I would like to try to attune more to my flute, my mom's flute.
By just sort of going around and doing performances.
Practice, and yeah, might as well earn a little extra money too.
Okay. Let me look something up really quick. Can you make me a performance check to just sort of see how you do overall?
So 11 plus 7, 18.
I think that's going to be really good. I just need to actually open up Xanathar's here. Let's see, downtime activities, work. Let's see, performance of 18. So you will get wages equal to basically a comfortable lifestyle for the weeks that you're doing this. And so now I need to look up what a comfortable lifestyle is. Player's handbook, here I come. Let's see, adventuring.
It's 2
20
gold pieces.
adventures. 2 gold pieces. Is that per day or per week?
It's probably based off the Xanathar's time frame. If it said per week, it'd probably be per week, I'm guessing. Unless you're supposed to.
Oh, lifestyle expenses. There it is. Let's see. Except it doesn't tell me. Oh, chapter 5. Thanks. Here we go. Okay, price per day. So comfortable is 2 gold pieces per day, and you work this for about 2 weeks. About 28 gold pieces you make hopping bar to bar. And word about Tuppence starts to get out around the city. People start talking about, this fairy bard who will come to various bars and play songs. But around that second week, you start to hear mutterings of another fairy bard in town. There is someone else kind of encroaching on your territory and playing gigs in Port Horizon Shroud, who also has this reputation of a fairy bard. What do you want to do? Do you want to try and track them down? Do you sort of let them play their gigs?
No, I want to track them down.
Okay. Roll a investigation check.
That's another 18.
Okay, that's really good. For a while, everywhere you go where you hear this fairy is playing, you basically find out that they've played their set, packed up, and moved along to the next bar. And even as you try and follow them, it seems like this bard plays a gig and is just zoom out of there to the next gig really quick. And basically you do the math, they're playing almost 3 times the gigs that you're playing, even though you're basically using all your spare time to go bar to bar and play this. But eventually you catch up with this other bard at one of their sets, and you come into a bar that has a little stage, and there's a tiny creature with a tiny drum set up on this stage. And they are playing a drum solo, but they are moving so quickly that they are basically playing like 3 or 4 drum parts at once with just the 2 sticks. And it's this tiny kind of bluish fae that you recognize as a quickling. And he is basically just playing this incredible drum solo as you come in. What do you want to do?
So I'll wait for him to finish his song, and then I'll introduce myself.
Okay. The song finishes. People begin to clap and like press the stage to try and like, get autographs or whatever. Make a, what would this be? You basically have to barge your way through. So make a strength athletics check.
I'm so great at those. So I have to do disadvantage on those, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I rolled a 13 on both. So let's see. Strength or what was it? Athletics. So that's a 14.
14. You get to the front of the stage just in time to basically see this figure strap the last drum to his body, basically turn to you, give you a little bit of a wink, spotting you there, and zoom, he's gone. It's like in a flash. It's like you feel this gust of wind as he just breezes out of there. And the crowd just chants, Thistle, 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 Thistle. Yeah. And you have this encounter with another fairy bard.
Cool. Very quickling. That's all. Well, Tuppence is very intrigued. They make things quick.
Yeah, it was like you blink and in a flash he's gone. He basically just zooms out. And you almost like can't even trace the path with your eyes.
Okay. Well, this puts a little wrinkle in things. I thought it was going to be someone else.
The other thing that happens to Tuppence during her week is at some point Malt approaches her and says, Tuppence, do you have a minute?
For you, always.
If you'd come up to my house, I have something to share with you.
Gladly.
And yeah, he basically opens the curtain into his little house up in the rafters and lets you in. And he kind of curls up on the little gold pile and motions to another gold pile for you to sit on it. Make yourself at home.
Okay. Comfy.
I've been investigating that fan of yours, and one of my contacts came through.
No kidding.
It's not a lot, but it's something to go on. It turns out that fans very similar to yours sometimes find their way into estate sales of wealthy individuals in Daegu, specifically in the region around the Somley Woods. But unfortunately, my contact didn't know what significance they may have. He just had seen them turn up in his work with these estate sales.
Oh, that's fantastic info. How can I thank you?
He shakes his head and says, no need for thanks. I don't often get many, well, I don't get to interact with so many people that I like very often. And
Aw, you're the
yeah,
best.
it kind of trails off there.
Tuppence goes over and kisses him on the cheek.
Yeah, his cheeks go kind of like bright orange.
I'm really gonna miss you. I hope we can pop in and see each other every once in a while. Are you able to come up and visit?
I would like that very much. We'll see.
Okay. This is wonderful.
Yeah, and more time goes on. Did anyone else have anything they want to do with sort of like the 2 weeks other than basic preparations and things like that? Nick, I think you're muted, but I see you talking.
Thank you. I think we don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but I think that Embers would have done the like religious service action and spent some time with Megan, kind of like definitely showing her the letter and things and talking a bit more about her grandfather.
I was going to ask if you spend any more time with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she doesn't approach you, but if you show up at her temple,
Yeah,
basically offering your services, helping out.
Mm-hmm. Embers at this point is like the religious icon that that Maramis kind of like handed down to her didn't really work as jewelry the way they did on the halflings.
Mm-hmm.
So Embers has like started wearing them as bracelets.
Cool. Let's see. I'm looking at religious service right now.
Sorry, keep going.
Can you make a intelligence religion check or a charisma persuasion check to sort of see how your time working with Megan goes in terms of the actual work?
Sure. What was the persuasion check you said?
Yeah, persuasion or religion, looks
Okay.
like.
Well, I went with persuasion because I thought it'd be funny to get something super low, but unfortunately, I only rolled a 14.
Okay. Throughout the course of your working in the temple, you find that like this temple doesn't get a lot of traffic actually. But over the course of it, you do basically incur the favor of one person, and you can sort of read the descriptions of what that favor might entail under that action. And I will leave it up to you whether that is with Megan or with someone who comes through the temple. We can talk about that later.
Sure.
But yeah, over the course of your service, that happens. And Megan she's very awkward with you at first, but as the two of you start working together a bit more, she warms up, and you find that she's actually a pretty like bright and welcoming person. It's just that she felt really bad about how she got off on the wrong foot with you, and so every interaction, it felt like she was putting her foot in her mouth. But once the two of you actually start to get to know each other, she really enjoys hearing about your experiences with her grandfather. She has lots of stories about him to share. She, if you're willing, will even take you out back to show you his grave where he's buried.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a pretty humble tombstone, but it just says something along the lines of, "Here lies Marimus, beloved father, grandfather, and friend." And then it has sort of the dates for his life.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have wanted it any more fancy than this.
Ember's just nods. Like, yeah, it fits. It fits in.
And the only other thing that might happen during that is if you would make me an insight check, you might notice something about Megan.
Okay. Oh, 19.
Oh, yeah. As you're working with her, whenever you bring up that you're going to be leaving the city, you pick up on hints of like envy or jealousy. Like she gets very excited about, when you start talking about how you're going to be leaving the city and going on this adventure up north. And you can see her getting very invested in that conversation. And then when it sort of comes to the point where she realizes that, it's your adventure, not hers. That's when you see sort of the like jealousy and envy kind of creeping up a little bit.
Okay.
You don't have to act on that now, but
Yeah.
it's something you notice.
There's one other unrelated, and I'm sorry to keep pushing this. It's one more. We can do a small scene. I would like to fail a persuasion check here.
Mhm.
I think there's definitely one night where Amber's is just like following Torin around on patrol, just like shadowing him for a while. And then after working up the courage, walks up to him and says, "Hey, you should quit.
What?
You should
Quit? I just got promoted."
You should quit the Wardens, Torin. You're better than them."
He looks utterly bamboozled. What do you mean? What would I do? Why?
Well, you would do what we do. You could do good for money instead of what you do now, which is do.
I do good for money.
No, you don't, Torin.
But I do. I was the one who first noticed the corruption and helped root it out. Was I not? I did good.
You helped us. You helped us root it out, Torin. Quit.
Roll your persuasion check.
Yeah. Oh my god, I got a nat 20.
No way.
So that's an 18.
Oh my god.
Torin goes quiet for a second and says, "Are you inviting me to come with you?"
Sure. Yes.
Very well. I will quit.
Oh shoot.
I think like Ember's like looks flabbergasted at this for two reasons. One, like he's actually doing it. Two, she convinced somebody to do something. And just like hugs him.
He seems very surprised, but kind of pats you on the back.
Uh,
I didn't see that
for
coming.
a sidekick.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. What a perfect time for a nat 20.
yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sorry, I thought that'd be a short scene. I'm done.
Yeah, Torin
God.
starts coming to the mill house a lot more to like talk with you guys about preparations for
Aw.
your journey northward. Now that he is coming with you, he turns in his resignation to the wardens. It seems like Five is very surprised, but Five is basically like, very well. I understand that this is your wish. You will do well in whatever you choose to pursue, Torin Runwarm. Thank you for your service.
Is Torin's sister also coming? Or is she staying in?
No,
Okay.
she has a life here.
Okay.
So, but Torin
Great.
basically explains to her, I'm going to go do a bunch of good things. And apparently that convinces her well enough.
Well, in that case, Tuppence will have to go buy cotton for her ears.
Good thinking. The only other thing that I wanted to do, where in my list is that Nora approaches the group of you as you're sort of getting close to leaving the city. And she says, now it's just been a delight having the group of you staying at the inn with me. I really appreciate, everything you did, starting with the Doppelrat, and I've been hearing you're the talk of the town, heroes of the city. It's really been an honor. And I really hate to do this, but I'm wondering if I could ask you another favor.
Of course, Nora. Anything for you. Sugar, what is it?
Would you mind taking Malt with you when you go to Amberhearth?
Not at all.
God, we would love to have Malt come with us, but what's bringing this on?
Well, okay, so you see, I don't know if you know this, but the Froth Tankards we're pretty famous. We've done a lot in the brewing and in the service industry across the empire. And I was basically given the mill house by my father just to run and operate. I think I did a really good job, but I've never done anything with my own abilities, or with my own means. And well, the Froth Tankards haven't ever expanded into Ardalier or Vidun or Vogma since they're so new to the Empire. So I was thinking, well, look, if I know people up in Amberhearth, maybe there's the possibility of setting something up there. So I was hoping Malt could come with you and sort of scout it out, and he could come back and report to me, and then if all things go well, maybe I'll set up an establishment all my own up there.
Well, that sounds lovely. I think that's a wonderful idea,
Fantastic.
Nora.
Hooray! You're
Of course we'll
brilliant.
take Malt with us, and we'll help him scout places out. And there might be something even near our keep.
Or part of our keep.
As this conversation is happening, you hear a glass shatter from over by the bar, and you look over and you see Molo has dropped a glass that he was polishing. And as all of you turn to him, he basically comes striding over and says, "Hey, look, if anyone's gotta go, if anyone's going with them, it should be me. I want to go with them."
You're welcome to come with us too, Sugar.
Oh, but I don't know if I can get by without Malt and Molo. I should be the
Well-
one to go. I'm big. I can fight. He can't fight.
Mola, how about this? How about you stay here? Because if Malt is leaving, you need to be the eyes and ears of this place. We're counting on you. And then if Nora comes up to visit us in Amberheart, she can bring you along. How does that sound?
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's very high. that's a 24.
Yeah, he says, "Oh yeah, if she goes up there, that's a good point. So need someone to defend her, and I'm like I said, I'm a warrior. The blood of dragons flows through my veins.
Exactly. And if we leave, who best to do it but you, Molo?
You're a smart one, Miss Elwyn. You really are.
I try.
Fine, fine. Malt, you can go. I will stay. But I'm gonna be making some changes around here while you're gone." Oh yeah, I've got big plans. And Nora basically looks at him like, "No, you don't."
We place all our trust in you, little one.
Okay. Any last things to do in the city?
I wanted to try and contact Night Mantis.
Okay.
We don't need to like play it out, but I had a few things I was gonna like tell them what we were doing.
We can play it out real quick.
Sure, if
We're already way over, so we can just keep going.
You
Okay.
gonna tell me that you're doing it, or are you just doing it?
I mean, I could, I guess.
Because I would like to come with you, even if I need to be a cat again.
I love Ruth's thought process of, are you going to tell the truth? Well, I guess I could. I guess it is an option I had
Yeah.
considered.
It is
Should
an
I?
option.
Yeah, I think from our previous conversation, Rook would share with Elwyn that he's going to try and seek out Night Mantis.
Yeah, and I will definitely want to come with. But if you think that it's bad if I'm with you in person, then I'll definitely trail as a cat like I did before.
I think you could definitely see hints that he would prefer that you stay subtle.
Okay, I'll be cat Elwyn.
Yeah, and he might share with you. He's like, truthfully, I don't even know her identity. So, until I know more about them, I can't really gauge this arrangement that easily.
Yeah, we'll just stay on our guard. It's better that you have someone watching your back anyway.
And then Jin's like, "Oh, hello."
I know. Well, this kind of rolls into the other thing I
Yeah.
wanted to do, but I wasn't sure if we'd get to it tonight. We don't have to do that. We don't have to play that.
But okay, so we'll stick with the Night Mantis thing. You are able to sort of go out into the city at night and kind of flag her down into an alley.
Okay.
And she kind of descends on that grappling hook cable, lands in front of you, and then retracts the cable.
Hello, Night Mantis.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see that you're well. I was just letting you know that, unless you knew already, we were about to depart the city.
I've seen you making preparations, and tell you the truth, I'll be leaving soon too.
Are you going where I'm going, or are you going somewhere else?
She shakes her head and says, "I don't think so, but I know our paths will cross again."
I see.
Your mission is not the same as my mission.
Can you share more about it with me?
She kind of nods and says, "I believe you're aware that the Brotherhood was not the true force behind the events that happened in this city."
Yeah, and he's very willing to share notes about like the League of Terrors and stuff like that. Explain what he learned as well.
I think it's connected to things that have been happening back where I'm from.
Where we're from?
A little smile crosses her face, and she says, "No, where I'm from."
I see.
And I've been doing investigations for the people who live where I'm from on their behalf, and it led me here, and I followed the leads and found you.
So Rook
But
is like,
finding you wasn't my intention, and it wasn't my goal.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Rook is like seriously racking his brain trying to put a like name to this person that he encountered potentially in Vogma. But he kind of nods along. I see. Interesting. But you're still sworn to the crown? Is that why you stuck around, or you have a
I'm loyal
station
to
that
you,
to
Bert
me?
Nor. As long as you prove to be the person I think you are.
I see. Well, I hope I don't disappoint you, but I'm not planning to change who I am, so.
She nods and says, listen, with you leaving the city, I'm not going to be able to be watching over your shoulder the entire time like I have been. And there are dangers afoot in the world.
I mean, why do you think I've been hiding for the past 5 years?
She nods. Just be careful.
And he kind of
There's
rolls his
things
eyes.
happening all across the empire. And I don't know what these signs point to, but something big. And I just want you to watch your back.
Likewise.
Of course. And she kind of like raises the gun to prepare to grapple to the roof again. But she kind of turns the orange goggled eyes back to you one more time and says, oh. And it probably is best you leave the city soon. All the attention you've drawn lately, I think it's garnered you a few extra eyes. And then she fires the gun and leaps up onto the roof.
And Rook kind of just like watches her leave and stays there for a moment to kind of think about the
I
conversation.
come up in cat form and sit down next to his feet, look up at him, blink, blink.
I think Rook just like kind of like stares at Elwyn, like maybe like pets her ear.
Can I do just a general insight check to just see how truthful Night Mantis was being?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I know she seemed like she was withholding a lot, but I just want to see how truthful she was. Oh no, I missed my tower. Okay, that was shit. So that was, yeah, that's a 9.
Okay.
A 9.
Will you let me roll to see if I know have an idea who this person is?
Sure. Yeah. Roll a insight check.
Okay. Ah, crap. That's a 13.
The world may never know.
13.
So Elwyn, yeah, I mean the mask, it kind of obscures the
Yeah.
eyes. It just, and from your lower perspective as a cat, it's hard to read facial expressions, and she's kind of one-toned throughout, so there's not a lot to go on. Rook, 13. There is something about her that is familiar. And you do realize what it is that seems so familiar to you. You saw a lot of portraits of, the king's first wife in your time in Vogma, like family portraits of, him and her. The way that Night Mantis wears her hair and the coloring of it seems similar to that. But I mean, any number of people wear their hair that way and have that color of hair. So
yeah, but does she seem like, I guess from there, I don't know if I can infer any more, but does she seem like younger? Because like, I mean, knowing what I know about his first wife, that would already not be an option, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she seemed, I mean, Nightman, you can't really tell age, but seems at least a few years older than you.
Okay.
At least a few.
But yeah, I mean, like, just like if I don't know if she's like completely fully covered with her clothing or armor and stuff
For
like
the
that.
most part.
Okay, but if she had any exposed.
Yeah, the little bits of the face that you can see, like.
It wasn't like.
And from the voice and stuff, it's hard to tell, but she seems like maybe a few years older than you, give or take. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I have some different theories now, but that's fine.
And with that, I think that's about everything, though I forgot one thing. When Tuppence was playing the shows and kind of, working on using the pan flute to play those shows, each time you play a show, you did feel that sort of connection, to your mother and sort of her spirit begin to grow, more and more throughout each one of those shows. And by the end of it, it's like every time you pick up the pan flute, you feel her presence, and it's comforting and addictive. And you can attune to Blade's pan flute if you want. I made a magic item for you.
Yay, thank you. So exciting.
And we'll play with more of that next season, because the time comes for the group of you to depart. All of your preparations are ready, and you begin to ride out of the city, potentially with a cart. We'll discuss all the specifics later.
I did want to say, and we don't need to play it out, but I did want to say at some point during these 3 weeks or whatever, Elwyn takes Embers' advice to heart, and she goes and she apologizes to Edith Wavefoot for getting her fired.
Okay. Yeah,
we don't need to play that out. But
She's
that
out
happens.
of a job, but
Yeah.
she's got a new job working at a different warehouse.
I like buy her
for
a drink. We have a night of it. I let her rant. That's it.
Yeah, she's very angry with you, but by the end of the night, you smooth things over in typical charming Elwyn fashion.
Yes.
Yes, so the group of you are riding out of the city, and none of you see this, but for the audience and for the players, there is a figure perched atop the crenellation of the Thrims Gate, where it culminates at its highest point, this frost giant city gate that towers above the horizon. A single figure made of metal, stone, and wood, a warforged, wearing a dark cloak. And this figure holds up a piece of paper in front of their eyes, and on it we can see wanted, Vertinor Oranglass, Prince of Vogma, and a massive amount of gold. And this figure just kind of watches your carriage or group of horses leave the city and smiles. More on that next season.
Oh god. Oh no.
I mean, I figured it. I drew that connection when you started talking about the queen. I was like, he's the fucking prince. He's the fucking prince. I know it. Knew it. Fucking.
Everyone here's
I
royalty.
was so upset that I wrote gold, GOALD. Because I was typing the note.
Oh god.
Sorry, proceed.
Yeah, so we will pick up with that when we return to this after our Antiheroes in Exandria season that we're going to do next. I think things are going to be really fun next season, so I'm looking forward to it. We went really late tonight. Thanks to those of you who stuck around. Thank you guys for playing, and hope to see you again next time. Have a good night. Bye.
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 Yeah.